Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Suzanne, could you please do roll call? Here.
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 Here. Here.
Commissioner Young will not be able to make it today. County Advisory Boards, could you please stand and tell us who you are?
Gil Yarmick, Carson. Miles Humphreys, Washington. Rex Flowers, Washington. Kevin Strozzi, Hackensack.
Mike Reese, Park County.
All right, thank you guys. We'll move on to agenda item number 16, which I'm not really looking forward to.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before we get started today, I think it's really important that we recognize a couple of our outgoing commissioners. In my short tenure as director, haven't had the opportunity to thank any commissioners for their service, but today I'd like to take a little bit of time and express some thoughts and appreciation to two commissioners who are done on their serving their time on the commission after today. And Chairman Jack Robb and Commissioner Mike McBeth have both served 6 years on the commission, and I think that sometimes with some of these controversial issues that brought us all here today, obviously, that we forget the one commonality that we all have, and that is a passion and a dedication to wildlife. And I'd personally like to thank Chairman Robb and Commissioner McBeth for their dedication and service to Nevada's wildlife. It's a thankless job. It doesn't end. It's volunteer time. The phone calls, all hours of morning and night. And then the last couple years, some of the issues that the commission has dealt with have been some of the most divisive and challenging issues that any commission has had to deal with. And it doesn't lack for challenge. I guess I'd like to say a couple things about each of the two commissioners and present them with an award from the department for demonstrating our appreciation for their efforts, and then after I do that, I'll turn it over to Vice Chairman Drew to say a few things and discuss the fellow commissioners' efforts. Commissioner McBeth has always strove to see that science kind of dictate our decisions as a department and as a commission, and I really, for one, really appreciate it. My first interactions with Commissioner McBeth was I was a field biologist in Elko and was presenting data on mule deer, and I really appreciated his perspective as a commissioner and the questions that he asked, and he constantly brought a sense of intrigue and always asked questions to try to better understand the issues. And sometimes in a position, a political appointed position, a lot of times people look at that as an opportunity to come in and espouse their particular philosophy and direct policy and direction with that. But Commissioner McBeth, to his credit, came in and asked a lot of questions prior to forcing his preconceived notion or agenda. And I think that's really a testament to his value on this commission, his constant questioning, why we do things, what does the data say, and then certainly his background in law has been very valuable to the commission, detail-oriented. His efforts on Policy 23 and rewriting Policy 23 as it pertains to the Predator Management Program is instrumental in providing direction and structure to that program. And he's just been a tireless advocate for science-based conservation, and from a department perspective, I appreciate it as a field biologist, I appreciate it as a staff biologist, and I certainly appreciate it as director now. Chairman Rob, I know that he probably spends more time on the phone after hours and on weekends than some full-time wildlife employees do between 8 and 5 on Monday to Friday. It's not only a challenge for these individuals, but also that their families give a lot. And I want to thank Ricky and the boys for allowing your dad and husband to give the time and support to Nevada's wildlife. It means a lot to have people that care as much as these two gentlemen do. And with that, I'd like to present them a plaque of appreciation from the department. Just says the Nevada Department of Wildlife proudly recognizes and honors Commissioner Michael McBeth for 6 years of dedicated service to the Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners and for his many contributions for the betterment of Nevada wildlife, the state wildlife resources of the state of Nevada, and has the dates of service. So. Thank you, Mark. We have similar plaque for Chairman Robb. Thanks, Jack. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Vice Chairman Drew to follow up and say a few things.
Good thing we did this in the morning so I have a strong voice. A couple housekeeping items. First of all, I'd like to just say a few words of appreciation for Tonopah being such a kind guest. To Commissioner Rao for setting dinner up last night. It was a great event. Allowed us to enjoy each other's company outside of a business atmosphere, and I think that was much appreciated by all. Bill Young, Commissioner Young couldn't be here today. He wanted me to pass along to both of you that he appreciates your time and dedication and service, and tell you that it was an honor to serve this time with you guys. Jack and Mike would probably rather not even have this on the agenda. In fact, you notice we had to put it in front of approval of the agenda because they would have figured out a way to get it off of here. But that just speaks to their character. They don't do this for accolades. They'd rather not have formal appreciation, but given all they've done, they're going to get it. And I'm glad we can present them with this. First of all, I'd like to thank staff. They were able to put together some real nice pieces on behalf of the commissioners, on behalf of all the commissioners, and I have the opportunity to kind of present that. Tony touched on a lot of this stuff, but maybe I'll just hit the highlights from my standpoint and start with Commissioner McBeth. He served on the commission for 6 years, but I got to tell you, as far as I'm concerned, it was probably the most difficult 6 years that this commission has ever faced. And he's served with a lot of different commissioners who did business a lot of different ways. And yet he's persevered. And I think that speaks to his character. He's always consistent. He's always steady. I can see why he's a sheep hunter, because that's the approach you need when the days are long and the trail is dusty, to put your head down and just take it one step at a time. And he was able to do that. He was also very impassioned when he needed to be. And I appreciate that. He always knew where he stood. And I guess what I appreciate most, especially being a young guy and new to the commission, is he always led by example. And I can't tell you how important that is. So if he would come down, in honor of his work, we put together, like I said, staff put together a really nice presentation and frame. Maybe I'll have Director Wasley read the inscription for you guys.
The Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners recognizes Michael McBeth with appreciation of your efforts as a tireless advocate for science-based conservation. Many thanks for all you do for Nevada and its wildlife. A picture from Bugle, the cover of Bugle magazine that highlighted the conservation easement that the McBeth Ranch put in place. And a picture of the property with the rainbow was also in that publication.
Well, I probably ruined that picture. Now on to Commissioner Robb. I've known Jack for a long time, and there's probably a lot of stories I could tell, and I won't. But we'll have a lot of good memories from serving on this board together. He served 2 different terms, 3-year stints under 2 different governors, and I think when he signed up for the second run, he knew it wasn't going to be easy. And early on, he said he's not here to make friends. He's here to do what's right. And he's always been true to that, true to himself, and he's always made the decisions that he felt were best, and he wasn't afraid to push the limits to find a solution to tough problems. And I probably appreciate that more than anything, and we're going to honor him with a plaque as well, and then I'll have a few closing remarks for both commissioners. But that's about all I'm going to be able to say with Jack without being a mess at this point.
Picture of a special place, Jack. The inscription reads, the Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners recognizes Jack Robb with appreciation of your efforts to create, enhance, and conserve special places. Many thanks for all you do for Nevada and its wildlife.
I know I ruined that picture. Just in closing, and this goes out to both gentlemen, I don't think you can really understand the character of a person until you've walked a mile in their shoes, and I know that's been said a lot of times, and I don't know if I've walked a mile in their shoes, but maybe I've walked a half mile in their shoes with them. And I have to tell you, they're a high character, and they've endured more and accepted more responsibility and done more than I think any one of us will ever truly appreciate. These guys don't do it for recognition. This is probably going to be the hardest 15 minutes of their commission, having the spotlight on them. They did it to give back, and for that I'm appreciative. I know Jack mentioned early on that he didn't take this position to make friends, but him and Commissioner McBeth have both made a friend in me. And the key to that is, no matter how hard things got, no matter how much we might have disagreed, how passionate we were in that disagreement, at the end of the day, our respect and our friendship was worth more than the disagreement. I know we've talked a lot, Jack and I have talked a lot on road trips about why we do what we do, and it's for our family and for our wildlife and for future generations. And I can say unequivocally that both of these men's service has bettered Nevada's wildlife and its citizens for generations to come. So thank you guys for everything.
Mr. Moore, I asked if we would let comments be made this time instead of during member items. I said sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a couple things that I'd like to express about these fellow commissioners, and I know that I've had the opportunity to serve on the commission at two different times, and both of these guys have been there for me to learn from, get advice from. I'll start off with Mike, first of all. You know, one seems to always envy the people that have the qualities that in this case that I'm not capable of. And I've always marveled at the way that you've been able to express yourself always very, very clearly. You've always stepped up to the plate as far as letting everybody else on the commission know exactly where you stand. And we've had over the years some tense moments, and I've always just marveled at how he could maintain his composure during those moments when I'm just like speechless or ready to flip out, and he's just as calm and able to think clearly, and I've always envied that. And the fingerprint that you're leaving on this commission will be a long-lasting one, whether it's with the stuff. There were several times during different issues that we were talking about at these meetings where, in my mind, I'm thinking, Mike, it's your time to bail us out on this one now. And some of the appeals and stuff like that, and you seem to, without even having anybody say anything, you knew and stepped to the forefront and handled those things, and I really appreciate it. And Jack, I hope you understand what I'm saying when I say this, knowing my background and my business, but I can refer to you as being a hybrid in the fact that you can relate to people at all levels. Doesn't matter whether you live in the largely populated areas or going out and talking to people that don't come to town but once or twice a year. And you can fit with those people, get what their thoughts are, and be able to interact with a variety of people, a variety of groups, and get what they want portrayed to this commission. And I appreciate that because a lot of the difficult issues that you have never ducked, you have addressed things that we knew were going to be difficult, and your approach has been, hey, let's attack it head on and see where we end up. And I also want to mention that I envy your family values and family loyalty and conversations where we're talking about whether you're hunting trips or just going out with your family to your father's guzzler. It's like a favorite place in this state, and you're dedicated to making sure that you spend time there. And that's kind of what, in my view, that's kind of what it's all about, is you're raising your family with your beliefs, and they're all together on that. And I really appreciate that. And I know that there are some things that I'm probably going to forget that I had planned on saying here, but I know that I think both of these men I highly respect, and I believe that I'm going to keep you in my contacts. And so don't be surprised when I contact you and ask you for questions in the future about, it may not just be about wildlife, it may be about life in general. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Mel Grant's gonna have the microphone.
My turn.
We can stop anytime. We're gonna have a hard time not being choked up here in a minute, so.
Well, if you know anything about me, it's going to be short. Commissioner Macbeth, we've been through, I hate to say it all, but it's pretty darn close at times. And Commissioner Moore, I touched on it a lot. You know, there's the times that you'd step up and you'd say, you'd have a comment and I'd be like, man, that was spot on. And some of the issues that we fought for hours. There was a quota setting meeting that I didn't think we'd ever get through. And we did. It wasn't the best result.
5 or 6 motions
At least. And we didn't get through it the way we'd hoped to, but we got through it with the best scenario we were going to get for that day. And I've learned a lot, and I appreciate the time that I've served with you. And wish it was six good ones, but I'm not going to say they were bad either. There was a lot of learning that went on in the first 3. And continue. I come to Vegas, I'm going to give you a call and we'll meet up sometime. But I appreciate the time. And Commissioner Rob, you know, you came on the commission. It was just like a ray of hope for where we had been to where we were going. And you know, I live probably 20 miles from one of your favorite places, and I'd never been there. And you called me up one day and said, hey, let's go up there. So my wife and I went up with Jack and Ricky, and we hiked up to the Guzzler, and that was really, you know, I don't consider myself a sheep guy, but that day we went out there and we saw sheep, and we just got to be a place that, like I said, 20 miles, I'd never been there. And I've been there twice since. And we'll continue to go, and I hope that when you come down, you give me a call, we'll go up there again. But we'll stop there, but I appreciate it. And I've got lots of new friends, and you'll be.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You're gonna get one more.
Thought so.
Well, yeah, you think that Grand is short. I don't hold it together very well at all. So bottom line is that, Mike, what you and a couple of other people are going to give it a go for a little while. What you guys endured was painful to watch. And I think your character speaks for itself. The fact that you guys stuck with it, and you built a bridge that when things kind of calmed down, you guys were the bridge back to the department. And I think you played a major role in that, and I really appreciate everything that you've done. And there's no doubt that you're going to have the things that you have done and accomplished are going to be long-lasting, and certainly set things in motion for things to heal. And you know, we're going to be okay. And you had a major part of that, and I really appreciate it. So, and Jack, I've known you for 30 years.
Long time.
Thought I was going to speak before Ricky did, so I wouldn't do this, but I appreciate everything that you've done.
We'll go down the line, Karen.
I just want to say I haven't known these 2 commissioners as long as some of the other commissioners have, but I want to thank you for welcoming me to this commission. Thank you.
Your turn, Chad.
Mine will be real short. You know me. I just want to thank you guys and tell you I have all the respect in the world. It's unmeasurable for the guidance that you've given, not just us on the commission, but everybody in this audience that's at the commission meeting understands it. I want to thank, you know, Ricky and Kimmy and Lucas for giving up special times, sometimes to be on the phone with guys like me, you know, and everybody else, and I understand what their sacrifice is, because I see it in my own family as well. But thank you for everything that you guys have done for wildlife and the sportsman estate, and appreciate it very, very much.
I don't think I'm gonna avoid this one.
Okay, well, I didn't really plan on saying anything at all, but as soon as that plaque went up and I knew what was on it, I thought I was really going to look forward to this day and not have to endure the daily adventures that we have endured over the last, I will say, on a commission level for 9 years, because your break, you really didn't take a break. And all the years even prior to that, I mean, some of my date weekends were in the middle of Pioche, and I got to wake up to cow patties and adventures that I really never anticipated, nor did I thought I would look forward to. But I just want to say that everyone that has been on the commission, all of you in the room that has a passion for the wildlife and for our state, each one of you has brought something different. And I have to commend my husband for the patience that I've seen, the growth that I've seen, and what you have truly brought with your heart. And what I see that you've brought a lot of these people together in the room. Last night was a great testament to that. Seeing everyone there and knowing that no matter what the odds were, everybody came together. We were able to, have a very nice evening together and put those differences aside. So I just want to tell you that I'm very, very proud of you. I really thought I was going to be excited to see the day, but now I'm a little sad. But be proud of your work, all of you, and your wives and your families. It is a lot. It's a lot what we endure. I will be happy to pass along Chairman Drew's telephone number at the end of the day. I will first just start by maybe thinking that anything before 7 a.m. or after 9 p.m., kind of set some boundaries for yourselves with those phone calls. But, other than that, I'll be happy to pass along any numbers of the commissions. Okay, great job, you guys, and know that the work that you guys do, it doesn't just affect a small amount, it truly affects our state. So, love you.
Commissioner Macbeth?
There is a little bit of payback. I would like to say a little something, and I jotted down a bunch of notes, and in the end, it ends up being pretty much a story of a good chunk of my life. A lot of people, and I guess what I'm trying to do is answer the question why I'm leaving the commission, and how I maybe even got here. But like a lot of us that are sportsmen, my family has a deep history of hunting heritage, and it started in my youth, very young. I have recollections, and the biggest one and the one that sticks in my brain the most is my dad and my grandfather going on an elk hunt. I didn't get to go. I was just in first or second grade. But my dad came back from this elk hunt with a beautiful 6-point bolt on the back of the trailer, and after that, I was absolutely hooked. I said that was just the neatest thing that they had gone out and harvested this elk, and from then on, my first .410 shotgun at age 9, and all the things that we do, as we start growing up, was a big part of it, and. When I finally got back to Las Vegas, my dad was a doctor, and so we had medical school and residency, and then 2 years in the Air Force. But when we finally got back to Las Vegas in the early '60s, my grandfather lived in Henderson and was a pharmacist, and he soon after we returned, he retired, and so my grandfather, being an avid hunter, really was the main person that I did almost all of my hunting with. My dad, was able to go on a number of trips, but it was really my grandfather, and this led, to hunting adventures, throughout my youth. His good friends that he always hunted with were, I later learned, were just the icons of our wildlife history, and his best friend being Wayne Kirch. And so I was very fortunate as a young person to be able to be in the company of these great guys. My first job was at Turf Equipment in Las Vegas, and another wildlife commissioner, Marv Unewald, was a commissioner on the commission for a number of years. One of the forefathers of the fraternity of the Desert Bighorn. And after that, fast forward to 2004, I had gone through a divorce and moved up to Summerlin and was going to the gym at 24 Hour Fitness, and I recognized one of the gentlemen there. He was the former mayor of Las Vegas, Ron Lurie. And shortly thereafter, I read in the paper that he had been appointed to the Wildlife Commission, and I introduced myself, and that started a great friendship and started me down the path that 10 years later is to this day. I wanted to become more involved in wildlife. Ron, convinced me that the best path was for me to get on the county advisory board, so that's what I did. Is I got on the county advisory board, spent 4 years, and then, with our former governor, I really am not a political, and a lot of people, I've become a lot more political, but I'm not really a political animal. I'm more analytical, and let's figure out what the right answer is. But it became apparent that there was going to be a change, and I didn't quite fully understand what the agenda was going to be, but they were telling me that it wasn't going to be good, and convinced me that any way that I could get on this commission, I needed to do that. I'm very fortunate. I have 2 brothers that are fairly politically oriented and connected, and we made it happen. I got on this commission, and first year wasn't too bad because Ron Lurie and Pete, I think you were on, and there was Grant and I came on at the same time, but first year wasn't too bad. Second year was the beginning of a pretty rough time. And I can't tell you how many 6-3 votes there were. And the 6-3 votes were right here. And we formed a bond, and we were, I would say consistently on the same page on a wide array of issues. But the platform that was laid upon us was one of predators and predator control being the holy grail of wildlife management. And a lot of us as sportsmen, and I've seen this and I still see it today, come into wildlife management thinking, almost being hardwired that, taking predators is the answer. And what I was able to do was to overcome my preconceived notions, and it was through the continual patience of this department in educating me and all of us as to what wildlife management is. And it became, an evolution of learning the North American wildlife model and everything which is about wildlife management and science. And so, that was what really, got me focused to try to bring some sanity to what was going on. And after Pete went off, then the votes became 7-2. And it was Grant and I, the Lone Rangers out there, a couple turds and a glass of milk. And it was very, very tough at that point. And it was, it was not fun, and we had battles. And I can't tell you how it is and how starkly different it is to be on this commission with these gentlemen here and what it was back then. Because I would come to a meeting not having known what was going to happen. You have to understand that everything was cookbook. and scripted, and we'd come in and we just have to react. And it was one of those things where we just rolled with it. Whatever was coming our way, we just rolled with it. And it was tough. But then, after my first 3 years, I had to make a decision if I was going to continue. I was wiped out, but I said, no, I really got to stay. I've got to, transition. I knew that there was some help on the way, and we had some great gentlemen. Jack came back, Jeremy, and David. We got back and we started the process to right this ship, and it's been an incredibly satisfying and fulfilling experience for me. We have come a long way. We have, like Director Wosley indicated, we got policy 23 in place, and for the first time in a long time, our wildlife, our predation management plan is on time, and it's going into place at the end of the month, and we're good to go. That is largely defined by my role on this commission. Wasn't really what I wanted to do when I got here, but it basically is what defined and how it happened. I do want to thank, there is one commissioner that I really need to acknowledge, and that is Dave McNinch, because he was on the commission on my first year, and I was, I thought, I had some experience in courtroom, a little bit of courtroom experience, and knew how to speak and everything, but I was just amazed at how level-headed and polite, but was able to focus and very eloquently, say his positions, and I said, that's the guy I want to emulate. That's the guy I want to be. I tend to be a little bit, get a little bit more wound up than he does, but he's always been, the person, on this commission that I thought, really tough, part of being on this commission, and conservation. He's not a hunter, and yet he has got it. He really understands what we're all about. So now, over the last 3 years, I've had a real change in my priorities. That while I would really love to continue this, it is a passion of mine. Some of the things that have happened. First of all, I have 3 daughters. None of them hunt, and I think the reason is that I probably traumatized them with deer carcasses on the counter and caping heads in the garage and stuff like that. But they understand what I do, what I'm all about, and everything, and they are very supportive of what I do. More importantly, during my time on the commission, I have been blessed with 2 grandsons, ages 5 and 6, currently, and so here I am coming full circle. I'm a grandfather. I've got 2 boys. They walk into my house where my game room is, and since they were 2 years old, when they started to speak, antelope, sheep, elk, deer, and so we have this game, with my grandsons, and it is, now it's getting to the point where they are, wanting to hunt with their papa, and so I have, decided that, what my grandfather did for me, that I basically had to, do for my grandsons, and so that's my shift, is to change my gears here a little bit, and start spending a lot of time with my grandsons. I'm not going to disappear entirely. I became a lifetime member of the Fraternity of the Desert Bighorn this last month, and I'm going to be helping Corey and Dane on some projects they're going to have, and so I'm really looking forward to the change, and But I really truly want to thank the department and all the other members of this commission. And I look at what's ahead, and I can't believe Brant's going for another 3 years, but God bless him. We're turning this over to a very, very great group, young, people like Jeremy and Chad. These guys have demonstrated, their benefit to this commission, over the last few years, both on and off the commission. And I think that I leave with absolutely no concerns whatsoever that this commission is going down the right path and the department is going down the right path. And so I just want to thank everybody. It's been a great ride. Hope to see you guys, in the future. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad Mike spoke as long as he did, because it gave me a second to compose myself a little bit. I'm still not sure I'll make it through this, but my good friend Bill Young, I think, summed it up the best when a couple months ago he said, I thought this would be a lot more fun being on the Wildlife Commission. He hit the nail on the head. On my plaque here, I've got 2 tenures of being a commissioner, and they are a world apart. The first time, if this was the end of my first tenure, we would have rolled in about 5 o'clock this morning. We would not be looking as we do right now. It was a good time back then, and we accomplished a lot, but we found a way to have a lot more fun. This commission was faced with business, and we approached it that way. And as Jeremy said, I've said it a lot of times, I didn't get on this commission to make friends, but I've made a ton of them, and I appreciate all the friendships I've got from this commission. No matter what your viewpoints are, I see a lot of you as friends, and I know a lot of times you have a different viewpoint than do I. I've been accused of not listening, not supporting sportsmen, not supporting citizens of the state of Nevada. But to be honest with you, I think I supported everybody in the way I knew how. And I took all the input, and then I put it back into what I thought was right. And I live on decisions that I think are right, not what everybody else does. And that's how I've approached it. And I tried to be honest and sincere with it and do the best I could. So that's where we're at. I appreciate all the support from everybody, though, and the friendships I do. And like Mr. Macbeth said, I have no doubt the commission is going to continue going forward in the right direction. The last time I went off the commission, I didn't have this feeling at all. But I'm not done being a commissioner, but it's time. My family's put up with a lot, and it's time. All right, we made it to that. We'll move on to agenda item number 7.